going to start talking about kind of Alexander Ovechkin and the decision he made to sit out of the All-Star Game. I think he came out and said that he was doing it for rest, but he was the leading vote getter this year for sure. He's having a great season, but it got a lot of people talking about, whether stars have a responsibility to represent the NHL at the All-Star Game, especially if you're the leading fan vote getter. And also, we can touch on this in a bit, maybe the underlying reasons that Ovi actually decided not to go. Mm-hmm. So I think this is a pretty interesting topic, actually.
Yeah, I guess quickly, before I let you guys all talk, I'll just say that, from a black and white work perspective, responsibilities, duties, whatever, I think that at the end of the day, the fans are the ones paying your paycheck. So if you
true.
decide to, again, I'm not even against Ovi, I'm just saying this arbitrarily. If you sort of disrespect them by not going, that's how they're going to view it. Like we said, fans are irrational, but at the same time, literally are the ones paying you. Every dollar you make is a direct responsibility of them coming to your games, stuff like that. So I think that at the end of the day, fans can be as upset as they want. I think that it's their game. This is, if anything matters the most, not the most to them besides their team winning, but just individually people that they like, seeing them all in the same area. It's just a spectacle. So him not being there, I think, is a bit detrimental to the league. It looks a little bit bad, I'd say. From someone who watches hockey every day and can understand where he's coming from, I don't think it matters at all. For me, again, we see Ovechkin all over the place. He's in this game every year, so I don't mind seeing another name in these games. I think there's a lot of people who are unaware of a lot of other great talents in the NHL. I always say this to Nate, there's so much parity in the NHL, it's insane.
It's disgusting.
It'll allow other players to get into the game that it's not just from injury. Someone like Cam Atkinson who was in the game last year, people don't even really know about from Columbus, but this guy lights the league up. Only get in from injury, but I think that if you can see more talents in the game and kind of people can say, oh, I saw that guy in the All-Star Game, it gives fans a way to be more knowledgeable about the game in all aspects, not just knowing the top players, but also guys who are scoring a lot of goals in other teams. Like Mitch Marner's probably not going to get in this game. Yeah. Yes, we're from Toronto. We know that what he can do, but I'm saying people around the league, that's someone who has a ton of points, but based on how the situation's going, he's not going to be able to play. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the All-Star Game for me, the NHL one specifically, All-Star Games in general, but the NHL one specifically, I have a whole sort of opinion on that, about a bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. But keeping that aside, I think that Ovi's given so much to these All-Star Games over the years. You think about the sombrero and the sunglasses at the Canada thing, and the two sticks, and he's given everything to all these different All-Star Games he's been to. If anybody's earned the right to take one off, it's him.
Right.
So that's why it's it's Ov. You know what I mean? When I heard about this, it's Ovechkin. He is the All-Star Game.
Right.
If he wants to take it off, it's paradoxical because it's it contradicts itself because it's Ovechkin can take it off because he's put in so much, but he can't because he is the All-Star Game.
Right.
So which side do you take? It contradicts itself. So for me, if I were to say, I'd say, honestly, Ovechkin's put in the time. He wants to take some rest. And he's not getting any. What is he? 33 now, right? And it's crazy that he's kind of like a LeBron-esque season. Where's the age coming for? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So of course he wants to take a week and just rest and make sure that keeps going on strong. And you could argue about the different conspiracy theories. There are different things. I think you alluded to it that people might be saying this might be a little bit of a stance in spite of the whole Olympic issues and the NHL players not being in the Olympics, and that's being a huge component to Russian players, and that being a huge thing that's going to be talked about in the CBA coming up. So that's another discussion. Matt, what do you think? Do you think it's him just getting some rest, some honest rest, or do you think that he's kind of hey, I am the All-Star Game, middle finger, you know what I mean? What's going on? You know what I'm saying?
It's kind of a bit of both, I think. Obviously, he's an All-Star Game, having an amazing season, but I think, you alluded to LeBron, this guy, he played in the Stanley Cup final last year. He's 33 years old.
Partied all summer.
All summer.
And then came back and lit the league up somehow right away.
He's 31 goals right now.
Yeah. Anyways, I think there's a part of him that probably feels like LeBron. Obviously, he didn't go to 9 or 8 straight finals and whatever, like LeBron did. But I think if you're that age and you played into late June and then you party all summer and then you got 5 more months of hockey right now, he probably is feeling like he needs some rest. But I think it's hard for the top vote getter to not go to the All-Star game, given that it's hard for me to believe it's just rest because of how he dealt with the whole Olympic situation. He was the one guy in the NHL that was threatening not to play, like threatening to leave to go to the Olympics no matter what the NHL did to him.
He's
So-
very vocal.
Exactly.
He was unapologetic.
Like I'm on his side about that. Especially to Europeans, like that's their big their big spectacle is the Olympics, especially in hockey. And I think a lot of this, I think it could be a bit of both. But I think obviously to the media he has to say it's rest. He's not going to come out. He's one of the most polarizing, if not the most polarizing figure in the NHL. He can't just come out and say, oh yeah, like the Olympics, blah blah blah. That he's going to get like fined, suspended, whatever.
Kaepernick.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, maybe not as big, but like
to some extent.
yeah.
So I personally believe that a lot of this is coming from his Olympic, how they treated the Olympics and how it's kind of just in your face. You guys aren't going, like I don't care what your emotions are towards this. But I can understand the rest standpoint as well.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that he was the leading vote getter for me. Like if he was just like,
Yeah.
just got into the game, it wouldn't be as big a deal for me. But like if you're the leading vote getter, I think that's
voted
that's a
captain.
small honor.
But for
it
me,
shows.
For me, that's why he's making his point. I think. Is
Yeah,
that-
I
You know
get
what I mean?
that. I get that. But like,
The thing is, he hasn't been
Who
hurt
is-
this year at all. So it's not like he can say, oh, like I had this injury, like it's kind of nagging. It's just like, no, I need to.
Yeah.
but at I get that. But at what point is it hurting the fans more than like him making a stance, right? Like, and like you said, the fans do, especially in NHL, and like the way the salary cap works. Like the fans ultimately end up, paying his salary, and
Right.
like the fans, like the NHL, it's not the biggest of the 4 sports, right?
Right.
It needs as much attention as possible, and like I think they
That's
need
a
more
very good
ambassadors
point.
for the game, and
Mhm.
someone like Ovi, he has been a great ambassador, but I don't know. I just like me personally as a casual hockey fan, like hearing the top vote getter like voluntarily not go into the All-Star game, like that just hurts the brand a little bit. It's not significant to me, but like it hurts the brand a little bit.
Yeah, I would just say that I think, and I don't know if I said this before, but him not being in the game like doesn't really matter to me. Like from just a fan perspective, like I don't really watch the All-Star game that much.
Yeah.
Like,
But it's
really
not
care.
for the All-Star
casual
game is
fan,
for the
I know, I
casual
agree,
fan.
I
It's for
fully-
the branding for the kids.
I fully agree with that. But what I'm saying is that I think that everyone knows Ovechkin, and maybe that's why you're saying this is bad. But at the same time, like he's been all over the place. He does a million things for the NHL. He's in every commercial.
Yeah.
But does
So
this
on and
start?
so forth.
Does this start a trend? Like, and I know,
I don't
I
think
know,
it starts
I know
a trend.
Crosby took a few off. Like but that's Crosby has concussions, whatever.
Yeah.
But does this? Okay, Ovi, the All-Star.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Takes
Yeah.
it off. Then maybe a few other. Brett Burns is a little banged up. He just wants to take it off, and then
Yeah.
it turns into like, who knows? Like,
see this in
and
every
then that's a problem.
I think
But I think
happens
also
in every
too.
sport.
Yeah, but I think also too. Okay, there's a side where he could go, and you see this with even older guys from the game. They go and they literally have one shift. They're just there to be on the bench, laugh it up, whatever. I
Yeah.
get that. But also too, you have to go there. You're in the media day. You got to be in this place, that place, all over the place, and it probably ends up being a lot more work for someone who has done it. I don't know, 9-10 times than someone who's done it for the first, second, third time. If it's your first time going, like this is amazing, right? But after 10 times, like I'm kind of tired. And yes, even if this is a stand on the Olympics, I think that's even more important because, like you said, top vote getter. But I think that if someone can sort of pave the way, like I didn't like that they weren't in the Olympics, it really changed the game.
Yeah.
Obviously,
hated
it created a great opportunity for the guys overseas to get into the game and some other players. Like that's fantastic. But I think that from a social standpoint, I think it's really important because it shows that someone needs to take a stand in terms of if players actually want to get things done.
Well, another
Someone
thing
has to step forward, and I
you
think if
guys-
your biggest advocate for the league or biggest star for the league can do that, it's great.
Well, like in terms of advocating for the league, and Scotty was mentioning the branding of the NHL, how out of the 4 major sports, especially in the U.S., it's the 4th sport.
Right.
And, like,
By a wide margin.
Yeah, by
Yeah.
a wide margin,
Yeah.
and they need as much help as they can get to keep continuing to grow their like expansion teams and whatnot. Do you like the format of the voting? Because right now it's one person from every team has to get in,
I
but
can't
you got
stand
teams like Phoenix or Arizona Coyotes, whatever you want
Mhm.
to call them, and you got like terrible teams that you just have to vote a player in. Whereas there's teams that have, like Maple Leafs, for example, they got 3-4 guys that are that should be in the All-Star game no matter what.
But see, that's where I disagree.
Do you think? No, my question is, do you think it's better to grow the game by voting one player from each team, or it's by voting the best players no matter what team they're on? Because if you're a fan of Arizona and they have no one in the game, say it's the old style,
right?
Are you even gonna watch it because your player's not in that game, or is it better if it's just all around, like 4 Maple Leafs, but they're definitely the 4 top players that should be in there?
I think you're still gonna watch the game if you're an Arizona fan and your favorite player, whatever's not in the game. But I think that based on what these guys were saying earlier about the reach of their brand and all these other things, so on and so forth, every city can post, hey, our guys in the All-Star game, make sure you watch the All-Star games to see so and so. And I think that is where the NHL is going with it. If you want to bring in teams like Seattle and Vegas and stuff like that, they have to be constantly represented so that their people can constantly be involved in the game. I think that's again, keeping places afloat like Carolina and Arizona, them having someone matters to the casual fan because they're struggling with having more casual fans who are just involved in hockey. They have a lot of people who like honestly just don't care. So I think that's where they have to have someone in the game so that at least, you know, you can be driving on the highway and be like, oh, I saw Clayton Keller on the thing, he's on the All-Star game. Oh, okay, blah, blah, blah. And you kind of just get it going that way. So that's why I think it's important. I do also agree with you in the sense that it kind of is a slap in the face of some players who are having better years. But I think that if this event is supposed to be about a casual event, about fans, branding, stuff like that, the whole league has to be represented.
I guess from that perspective, you could say like if one representative for the 31 teams like goes just to, but I don't know, and I see where you're coming from. I just don't know how much of an effect having one representative is versus the best players from the best teams.
I think it does because every city, like I'm saying, every city can have a billboard that says our guys going. So think about it.
But do they do that?
Of course, because
do they really?
Because you're pushing it on your fans that we have to vote someone to go. So they're forcing them to have to do it, as opposed to if it was just happening, no one in Arizona is going to vote because they don't care, and then the Leafs are going to have 9 guys in the game. You see what I'm saying?
I see. But just a minimum of 1 per is just I see where you're going with it, but it's just like I feel like it's very pity. It just to me
it's very competition metal. Like I do agree with that, but I'm just saying that based on what you guys were saying about what the All-Star game is supposed to be to someone who's casual, then that is completely congruent. Someone like me who watches every day, I don't really, like I said, I don't really care for the All-Star game. I don't really care who's in the game. It doesn't matter to me. But I can see how if that is their idea about wanting to, you know, appeal more to casual fans, like I said, there's a lot of struggling franchises. That's how you have to do it.
That's pretty interesting.
Well, the other thing is, Brian Burke was talking about this. He was saying the All-Star, like, not necessarily the game, because he was saying he doesn't really care about the game either. It's like 3 on 3 with 4 divisions. It's the most random format I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But he was saying the All-Star voting should be taken more seriously because as a player, when your career is over, it's like how many All-Star appearances you get. Like that determines like Hall of Fame things and whatnot. And if you're just doing one player from each team, you're gonna have a lot of people like Marner. For the next 4 years, it could be Tavares and Matthews, and he never gets an All-Star even though he's played at that level.
True. That's
and then his career's over. It's like, oh, he has 2 All-Star appearances. Well, this guy should have been in there 7 times.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Brian Burke was like, he's like honing in on this whole idea of it should be taken more seriously, and maybe not necessarily as much percentage-wise in the fans, in the fan zone.
And not to cut you off, man, but yeah, like I agree with that because it takes away from the game. Like it really does in terms of an all-star game. Who are the best players in the league? Are they being represented properly? No, they're not. They're really not. They're doing a poor job. And ideally, you know, behind the scenes, behind the fans, whatever, it's a business, right? And they need to promote and they need to do all that, whatever. But to promote, they're taking away from the actual All-Star game. So it's hard, and I understand why they're doing it, but it's very hard. And I don't, like you, I don't give a crap about the All-Star game. I don't care about All-Star games in general. I think it's when you're a kid, it's dope. Like I would watch it, all the schools come to everything. It's sick, but I know why it's in place and all these different things, but like you said, the legacy, how many All-Star appearances, how much of an impact. You're even like contract negotiations, like that might come up.
What I was gonna say.
Yeah,
because your bonuses stuff like that. If they say you're trying to make the All-Star game, you get X amount of bonus. Now, with that being said, I think that these sports management people also aren't dumb. They're gonna find a way to sort of insulate the contract so that Marner's new contract is going to be more so not based on arbitrary things that the NHL is trying to figure out. So there is that aspect to sort of protect against that. But I think that is a big concern. What you guys are saying is very legitimate.
I think it means a lot to the players to be selected. I don't think it means a lot for them to actually go to the city and play in the game. But I think being selected is a big honor.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like being on the ice.
I do applaud the NHL though, because they've been probably the best sport in terms of like trying new things out at the All-Star game. Like they're the sport that takes the most
I
risks.
feel like
They
it changes
know
every
they have
year.
to.
Right.
But it's tough. Like I really agree with what Matt said in terms of like players' legacy being hurt. But like at the same time, like hockey needs to be promoted, right? Like the branding for casual fans isn't like as strong as it could be, and this is a way to do it. So like it's pretty tough. But one last point that I want to bring up is like I do think the All-Star game like it has so much potential, just the idea, but it's become so cheapened. But like the idea is like you get the best players and they play. If the best players from each sport were to take the game seriously, and you got the best players playing against each other in a game, like that would be sick. Like a basketball All-Star game.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to switch sports, but like in basketball, if you get the best players compete, like imagine Kobe Bryant back in the prime and LeBron James, D Wade going like hard, not just in the fourth quarter, the whole game, like playing a legit game. That could be the best thing on TV for the year, right? But because they've like cheapened it and like players don't take it seriously, the voting system's not that great. Like all these factors have like, it hurts the fan experience in the end. To be honest,
the thing I hate is how like NBA especially they'll say, oh, we don't go hard because we don't want to get hurt. But actually, if you don't go if you go 75%, there's probably more chance you're gonna get hurt because you're not used. You play 82 games going hard. If you play one game where you're like lackadaisical, you don't warm up properly, whatnot, you're gonna get hurt more likely. In that step. So I don't really understand that standpoint. Like All-Star game in the NBA, it's just like throw alley-oops 100 times. That's really what it is.
Yeah. Okay. Do you guys have any other points, or should we wrap it up?
I'm good.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you liked this style of episodes. We're thinking of transitioning to these episodes more and more. So let us know. Give us a like on Facebook, comment on Instagram. See you next time.
See you guys.